Chinese food may be thousands of years old, but the tastes of its people are constantly evolving. 70 years ago, most Chinese people ate simple dishes with rice or vegetables. But in 2018, hungry people across China spent over $637 billion eating out. Within the space of a lifetime, Chinese dinner tables have been transformed by economic success. I'm Viola Zhou, a reporter at Inkstone. To find out how that happened, you have to go back to one iconic dish. Hundreds of years ago, Peking duck was reserved for the emperors and China's elites. But now you can find Peking duck restaurants all over China and in most major cities around the world. As China has become more wealthy, people are able to eat the food that was once completely out of reach. We're in Hong Kong. It's far from Beijing, but the city's namesake duck is everywhere. This is Peking Garden. They specialize in Beijing food, specifically Peking ducks. So we're here to try their famous duck. They have put me in a private room, in their pink room. So the restaurant says many people have bridal showers here eating Peking ducks. When I was growing up, we didn't have any fancy Peking duck restaurants, so we used to get those simplified version of Peking ducks from takeaway places. But now I'm in this all pink room with fine china, a Mandarin duck wallpaper and everything. I'm having culture shock. And I'm picking up 2 pieces of this delicious looking Peking duck, using this tiny cute spoon to get some of the sweet soy sauce. Okay. And 1 piece of scallion, 1 piece of cucumber. It's really good. I can taste the skin and then the meat and the smell of the duck oil, but it's not too greasy. Because it's such a complex and symbolic food, it's often used to entertain foreign visitors like US presidents. This dish played an unlikely role in China's economic opening and transformation of the country. President Richard Nixon was the first US president to visit the People's Republic of China. The groundbreaking visit included meetings with leaders, a visit to the Great Wall, and topped off by a state banquet with an all-duck menu. The Peking duck was Nixon's favorite meal of the trip, and his week-long visit gave many Americans and the rest of the world their first glimpse into China. Many see Nixon's visit as Communist China's first step in opening itself up to the world, not only culturally but economically. At the time, China's economy was tightly regulated and most industries were state-owned. But in the 80s, the government started to increase foreign trade and ease rules on businesses in the country. This turn towards capitalism led to the opening of Yuebing in 1980, the first privately owned restaurant in China. It's like a whole package of a 1980s restaurant. The tablecloth is like what my grandparents are using right now. And the waitresses are all dressed up like those people who worked for the state-owned restaurants maybe like 20 years ago. This menu looks very 1980s. There's no picture, everything is in the same font. Guo Chen is the chef and manager. His grandparents opened this restaurant to huge fanfare in the 80s, and even today it's packed.
你做厨师这么多年，你觉得40年来就中国人的口味有什么变化？
把南北东西的菜全都聚集到北京。你要聚集到我们家这么多年几乎没变化。
你觉得大家为什么还想要那个老味儿？
情怀呀，好吃啊，对吧？主要还是应该是好吃。我现在有的是，这爷爷带着孙子来的，爸爸带着儿子来的。我小时候就跟你这儿吃。
People come here to take a kitschy step back in time. They do that for good reason. Much of the menu here is made up of traditional Chinese staples and dishes people would have eaten before economic reforms changed how China eats.
I just ordered several traditional Chinese dishes: shrimp with cucumber, fried tofu, vegetable egg rolls, the duck, and bok choy with gluten. So now when we go out to eat, we always go find those like fancy food like hot pot or seafood. These dishes remind me of what my parents or my grandparents will make. Okay, so this is fried tofu, but with some vegetable and meat fillings. Starting from the cheaper ones and then go to the more luxury ones. Oh, I love this. This is a bit spicy because I like spicy food. We had a roast duck. It's not Peking duck. It's much easier to make. It takes less time. I like this duck. It's not too oily because duck skin tends to be very oily. But this is the kind of duck most people in China would have eaten in the 80s. Not the fancy Peking duck now you see everywhere in Beijing. The food was a lot more simple back then.
In the early 80s, more than 88% of China's population lived in poverty. As economic reforms started to transform China and pull millions of people out of poverty, the middle class expanded, and so did their tastes. But people were still looking for a cheap and tasty meal. And in China, nobody did that better than the Colonel.
There's only one Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky Fried Chicken was the first global fast food chain to open in China. And since it opened its first location in 1987, it's grown to over 5,000 restaurants around the country. Today, KFC is the biggest fast food chain in China. I'm at the first KFC in China to meet Viola Zhou, who had his first American meal here in the early 90s.
所以我就点老北京鸡肉卷餐。你要
套餐吗？
我要套餐。
我记得就是餐还蛮深刻的，就是一个盘儿，一个托盘儿。我记得当时大概10块钱吧。然后当时这家是第一家嘛，第一家店，所以就是当时正好是中午，就是玩完就过来吃了，父母带我来吃，就当时觉得就很开心，也没有吃过嘛，第一次吃就印象很深刻，对。
就之前20年前是大概10块钱一个餐，今天我们大概是
10块钱一个套餐
，10块钱一个套餐，今天我们大概是40块钱一个套餐，大概翻了4倍了。
还好啦，人均收入也翻了不止4倍了。
对，但他用了那个就是卷鸭子那个方法，就有那个黄瓜，还有那个烤鸭那种甜面酱，所以就做一个就是。
对，它其实是更多的是比较符合于中国人口味的这种方式嘛，就改良出一些新品，包括后来做的那个饭，坏了，因为以前毕竟生活水平没有那么高嘛，比如说90年代可能你出去吃顿饭就是属于比较大家，比如说过个节日啊，或者有一些什么庆祝什么东西啊，然后出去吃饭。所以现在人的生活水平高了，他肯定会寻求一些又好吃又健康的东西，他也不会在乎说，我出去吃一顿饭我会省这几十块钱。
The average income in China has risen over 130% in the past 10 years. And as Chinese people have become more wealthy, low-cost chains like KFC are starting to fall out of fashion. These days, hungry Chinese people want to eat what they are seeing on their social media feeds.
We're at Media Mill Street in central Beijing, a food court famous for trendy foods. Now young people in China eat out more than ever, and every restaurant is looking for the latest gimmick to win over customers. I just got this messy bun. It's actually like a chocolate croissant filled with chocolate sauce and then covered with chocolate dust. It's like a typical internet food. It gets popular because like people start to post photos on social media of themselves eating this messy bun and then their face covered with chocolate. It's too much chocolate for me. I'm glad I have this cloth because I don't need to wash my hands after, but I do need to wash my face. Bubble tea is really popular everywhere now, but in China, the latest trend is to have cheese on top. 40 years ago, few people in this country knew what cheese was, but now people are more exposed to Western food ideas. They're experimenting with adding cheese on all kinds of different dishes. It's like a liquid cheesecake. I actually like this taste. If it's not that unhealthy, I will have this more often.
But this evolution in eating hasn't reached everyone. On the East Coast and in major cities like Beijing, people are wealthier and have access to food from around the world. But in many other parts of the country, there aren't KFCs or bubble tea, just traditional Chinese food. This wealth gap has led to inequality at the dinner table. But regardless of this disparity, China's growth has changed how people in the country eat forever.